Hello friends, this is Worm, and it's What If Wednesday, and what if Bungie made Destiny 3? What would it look like? How would it feel? What would they do about transitioning players from one game to the next? We're going to kind of talk about all that here. Of course, the idea of this came from yesterday's video. We talked about sunsetting, and that was kind of, you know, as per usual, Tuesday videos, a hot take. A lot of people agreed, a lot of people disagreed, but a lot of people brought up the idea of Bungie making Destiny 3. And so I figured we kind of just entertain that idea with this What If Wednesday. So Destiny 3, of course, Bungie released Destiny 2 back in 2017. And Destiny, the original game, back in 2014. So Destiny 1 had a 3-year life cycle, but Destiny 2 has had, what, a 7-year life cycle, something like that. And it doesn't look like it's going to be ending anytime soon. And let me just also address this here. I don't think D3 is in the works or anything like that. Destiny 3, I'm sure, would take a long time to make. You know, especially if they try to make it as good as Destiny 2 was, not at launch, but currently is, I should say. So I don't think that Destiny 3 is in the works, and I don't really know if they have a plan for Destiny 3. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. But Destiny 3, how would that look in terms of actual character regression? Because one of the biggest complaints that players had about Destiny 2 was that everything that we'd worked for in Destiny 1 was just taken from our character. Like all the exotics, all the god rolls and everything that we had was destroyed. When the tower was destroyed, we were left with like the Traveler's Chosen that was damaged and some damaged armor, and that was it. And a lot of players liked that, but a lot of players also didn't like that very much. And of course, I think if Destiny 3 dropped, the same thing would probably happen, and I think it would need to happen. It doesn't make sense to me, or I think for Bungie to just go out and have every character take everything from Destiny 2 into Destiny 3. And just, you know, because that defeats the purpose of a new game, a fresh game. Like, keep Destiny 2 and just add content would be the better idea if you want to give everybody all of their stuff, or let them keep all of their stuff. But one of the ideas that I had, and this was a long time ago, back when they first announced Destiny 2, was what if they allowed us to keep one loadout? And I think that this would be a very interesting idea. And that's, you know, the loadouts that you equip before you go to bed that night, or before the Destiny 2 is actually launched and the servers are online. Let players pick whatever loadout, primary, special, heavy, whatever, exotics, build, stuff like that. And then that's what they carry into Destiny 2, and just that stuff and just that gear. And I think that would be a really cool idea, because then you'd start the game not just with nothing. You could have at least, you know, 3 god rolls that you really love, or an exotic piece of armor that you love, or maybe, you know, you like the look of certain, you know, ornament sets or something like that. You could carry those into Destiny 2. I think that's going on a loop here, or out on a limb here. I think that a full reset would be necessary for Destiny 3. And not just because of, like, you know, it's a new game, new character progression, stuff like that, but also we have so much stuff in Destiny 2 that's completely just pointless. You know, like, when was the last time you kept, I'm trying to think of a random role, like a Sinuna, for example, that's, you know, it's like, what's the point of this? Like, yes, it's a burst sidearm, it's stasis, but like, I've never really used it. Like, there's so many weapons that are just not used in Destiny 2. Those would need to be ousted, and all the armors and everything, and everybody just starts at the same level, and there's this new grind for gear. And of course, one of the big things that people didn't like we said, like the thing that people didn't like about moving from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 was that reset. But at the same time, look at where we are. Those same people from Destiny 1 that complained about, you know, the reset and stuff like that, like me, because I was one of those people. I complained like, oh, I hate that my character's being totally reset and I'm having to start from scratch, blah 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 blah. But look at me now. Like, I have all this stuff that I really like. I'm holding on to it. It's good. I've got great rolls that I've worked hard for, and rolls that, you know, I've been waiting for a long time. I mean, the Cartesian coordinate that Xur sold like last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, like, I had tried for years to get that roll. It was a high impact reserves under pressure roll. I've been trying for years to get that roll, never got it. Got close, you know, I got things like swashbuckler and under pressure, which served me pretty well, but never the roll that I wanted. and Xur just happens to sell it, or not Xur, I'm sorry, the gunsmith just happens to sell it one day, you know, and that's part of the excitement that comes with Destiny 2. But I think at a certain point we get to a place where we're not really all that excited. Like, what could a new Void auto rifle offer me that other Void auto rifles haven't given me in the past? What can a new, you know, solar I don't know, scout rifle offer me that other solar scout rifles have not had previously? And that's one of the reasons why I think that's like, or one of the things that Bungie would need to address when dropping Destiny 3, if they of course were to drop Destiny 3. But of course, beyond just character regression, like, we need to actually look at everything that's in the game, because another frustrating point of Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 transition was the fact that we left a lot of exotics just behind. Like, for example, Helm of Saint 14. Helm of Saint 14 was not in vanilla Destiny. It came with Curse of Curse of Osiris, right? That was the name of the very first expansion for Destiny 2. I knew it was Osiris. I don't remember if it was Curse of Osiris, but I know it was something with Osiris. That's whenever we got Helm of Saint 14 back in the game. It didn't come with vanilla Destiny 2. And that's one of the things that was frustrating, is like, there were so many awesome weapons that were just gone. Like, Dragon's Breath is a great example. Dragon's Breath had been out of Destiny for 7 years, and then 6 years, and then we finally get it back. And that was a really awesome feeling. Of course, it came back better than ever. But I think that if Bungie were to transition from Destiny 2 to Destiny 3, they really should leave all exotics in the game to be reobtained. Whether it's from random drops or you know, certain missions, like, I don't care how they do it. But like, if we move into Destiny 3 and I don't have access to my Hoarfrost exotic chest piece, or my Huckleberry, or, you know, whatever exotic that we love and adore, with maybe the exception of raid exotics, and we'll talk about raid exotics here in just a second. But with you know, with all those, like, we should have a route to obtain those weapons again. And I think a restructuring of the loot pool would definitely be necessary for Destiny 3, because currently we get too many exotics. Like, I mean, anybody who plays for, I would say, an hour a week, because that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, I play for maybe like probably more than an hour. I play for like probably 3 to 4 hours a week, and I put a bunch of other playtime into other games now, because Destiny 2 is just not really at a fun spot. But in that 2-3 hours that I can play, I can get like 7 or 8 exotics, which is a ridiculous amount of exotics to be getting in the first place. Like, how many of y'all remember Destiny 1, the original vanilla Destiny, when exotics were completely random? You got them from Nightfalls, you got them from raids. I can't even remember if I think exotic Ingrams would drop in the world, right? Maybe not, I could be wrong, but you would get exotic Ingrams, you would get exotic weapons. And Xur was a huge deal, because every weekend a vendor would come around that would sell an exotic weapon and 1 exotic piece of armor for each of the 3 classes. And that was like I remember finding Xur all the way back in Destiny 1. He was selling, I think it was Suros Regime that first weekend. And like, of course, I didn't have the supplies. I didn't know how to get any of the stuff required for it, but I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty, or Red Death. It was Red Death that he was selling that very first week. And I was like, oh, this gun looks really cool, but it was grayed out and I couldn't buy it or anything like that. So I just like, okay, well, eventually I'll get there. And sure enough, I did. You know, I remember seeing him have Galahorn in his inventory, and I remember thinking what 90% of other people thought, which was, hey, why would I want to use my exotic slot on a rocket launcher? Boy, that was a mistake, right? But finally on the 3rd week, I had enough strange coins I'd saved up, you know, by doing Nightfall, stuff like that. I was finally able to get Suros Regime, and I loved Suros Regime, and it felt so like awesome to have it, because I knew that for the next week, the chances of me getting an exotic were like 0. Like I had Suros Regime. I didn't get another exotic for like a couple weeks after that. And then I got, I can't remember what my second exotic was off the top of my head, but you know, I continued to get exotics. You know, I got the exotic bounties, which that was a really cool thing from Destiny 1 that I would kind of like to see brought back to Destiny 2. But really the drop rate for exotics should be tuned way down. I mean, it's ridiculous. I can put in 3 hours and get 8 exotics in a week. It makes exotics really feel not very special anymore, because you can get so many of them. Like I literally have been at a point where I've dismantled exotic Ingrams because my Ingrams are full, and I really want to pick up a weapon or something that drops. So I'm like, what harm is it in the, what harm is there in breaking down an exotic Ingram it's not going to give me anything that I'm probably going to keep, and I have 9 more in my inventory. So I think that a restructuring of the exotic drop rate, maybe even a restructuring of legendary drop rates, you know, raids, they still give the highest level gear, but you can also get the highest level gear from other activities as well. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, but I also feel like maybe Bungie should go back to only allowing players to get to the maximum power cap if they're completing in-game activities. Things like raids, things like dungeons, things like Trials of Osiris, things like maybe like Grandmaster. You could make an argument for master level nightfalls, because I know Grandmasters are very, very difficult. Especially for the more casual player, because that's one thing I've never wanted to be somebody that's like excludes the casual player, which is kind of why I like where Destiny is currently. But I think that in Destiny 3, it would be nice to have that refreshing take on, hey, if you see somebody who is, you know, 1800 power levels, for an example, you know that they have done the raid and, you know, they've done all this stuff to get this really cool gear to get to that power cap. And of course, we kind of have that in Destiny 2 with the Guardian ranks. Like, you see a rank 11 and you're like, hey, that guy puts a lot of time into the game. Like, he's gone out of his way to solo a dungeon. He's gone out of his way to do a master level raid. He's gone out of his way to do this, that, and the other. So yeah, like, I like that idea, but I also like the idea of the true in-game activities giving unique rewards. And of course, in Destiny 1, it was power level. Destiny 2, you could say like it gives adept weapons in like a master raid, for example, but maybe we should, I don't know, just give raid to like a different level of tuning. Maybe for example, legendaries are capped, I think, at 68. Like, that's the highest stat roll that you can get on legendary pieces of armor. Maybe in the raid you can get up to 72 as your maximum armor level. And if you do various challenges, like, you know, you complete the raid challenges, or you do an encounter flawless, you have a higher chance at getting those really high number stat rolls on certain pieces of armor. I think that could be something that Bungie could potentially look at inside of Destiny 3. But like I said, really, this is all circling back to the loot restructure that we really want to, that we would have to see in Destiny 3. Because I think that there's a loot problem in Destiny 2. And again, this is from the eyes of a hardcore player. Like, obviously, if you're a more casual player, like, this probably doesn't sound as appealing, but I know that Bungie can make it so that casual players still feel rewarded, because that was one of the biggest differences between D1 and D2. D1, if you were a casual player, you did not get nearly the same excitement and enthusiasm as hardcore players did, because the god rolls that you got were very low. You didn't get exotics. You know, I mean, I knew some people back in D1 who still don't have certain exotics from Destiny 1 because their RNG was that bad. They also didn't put as much time in the game. And for casual players, the players that can only play 2 to 3 hours a week, the current setup is great. But for the hardcore players, it's just like, yeah, what's the point of exotics? And that's one of the things I really can't stress enough. Like, I miss feeling how good it was to get an exotic, because back in Destiny 1, I was more of a casual player than I am now. I play video games all the time now. I put in like 40 hours a week into video games or something, which in Destiny is less and less because of, you know, the current state of the game and stuff. But with that being said, Destiny Destiny 1, of course, I was in school, I was in high school still. You know, I had a job after high school, so I didn't have as much playtime, but I still had more than others. But still, like, there were people that played all the time. Like, I remember going to the tower and you'd see somebody that was level 30 and it was like, whoa, like, that man completed the Vault of Glass raid and he got all the armor. Or you'd see somebody that had Vex Mythic Glass on and be like, wow, like, that, I'll never see one of those again. And stuff just, that was absolutely crazy like that. But I kind of want to see Destiny 3 go back in that direction, not just handing out exotics for completing like 3 strikes, like the powerful gear. Yeah, I'm all for that. You know, I know I said that just a second ago that raids and dungeons should be the ones that give you the highest level gear, but I think that where we are currently with the State of Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit, the ritual playlist, I think it's okay that they're giving out 1 pinnacle a week, which they haven't been giving out a pinnacle since, what was it, like Lightfall or something, because Lightfall took out that power cap took out the power increase. But I don't see a problem with that, because at the end of the week, like, you could technically only get 3 more powerful level gear. as opposed to doing a raid where you could get, you know, 4 or 5 depending on the raid. Then you could also do those, so that's a total of 8, you know, power leveled gear, stuff like that. But I don't know. This is kind of me talking about Destiny 3. Of course, the setting for Destiny 3, I mean, honestly, if we're being completely honest, Final Shape is a great way to end Destiny 2, in my opinion. The Final Shape, you know, we kill the witness, blah blah blah. We do the the episodes. That would be a great way to round off Destiny 2. And then it moves us into Destiny 3. And of course, what could the big bad be of Destiny 3? That's something that I really don't know. And we've talked about this in other videos, but Destiny has only ever been light versus darkness. And here in the Final Shape, we are getting that ultimate battle, the light versus the darkness. Like we are fighting the darkness. So I don't really know what could potentially come after that. Like, oh, like more darkness. Like, could we, you know, we already killed Callus, so we can't do anything with Callus. Like, could the Vex potentially be, you know, the next big bad? I don't really know what they could do, but I do think that the Final Shape would be a great place to round out Destiny 2 and move us into Destiny 3. Plus, like, Destiny 3 would just be a nice refresh. Like, we've been on the same stuff for 7 years. Like, we've had the EDZ and Nessus in the game for 7 years. I don't ever go to the EDZ, or I don't ever go to Nessus anymore, because there's not really a point in it. It'd be nice to get new locations, you know, new planets to explore. Maybe planets that are out of our solar system would be nice. Going back to Venus would be cool. You know, we've had Mercury in the game before. Technically Mercury still is if you go to Lighthouse, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's just a refresh on Destiny 2, or a refresh in the Destiny saga would be really nice. And I think that this is, you know, this is some of the stuff that Bungie could do to make it better. You know, like I said, loot chase is a big focus point. You know, exotics need to be rare again. Have a quest every week where you're guaranteed to at least get one random exotic every week. That way you can give casual players that opportunity to get an exotic. But beyond that, nightfalls, you know, raids, or random drops, like I think returning exotics to random drops would be so much better. You could also argue that maybe in Destiny 3 they could include like a Ingram drop, random world Ingram drop that has a really low chance of dropping, just because I know that would feel good. I remember back in Destiny 1, whenever they added glass needles in and killing that first boss, and it dropped that gold Ingram, and it was like, ooh, baby. But yeah, I don't know. This video's gone on long enough. That's kind of just the what if of today. You know, Destiny 3, looking at it, what would it look like? How would it be? Stuff like that. So yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on Destiny 3. Do you think Bungie should do it? Do you think that Destiny 2 is good where it is? Do you think Destiny 2 just needs some tuning to make it the last chapter of Destiny? Do you don't, like, you know, if you don't think Destiny 3 is needed, just let me know all that stuff in the comments, blah blah blah. Of course, if you like today's video, drop a like, it helps the channel a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content. Do me a favor, watch the videos you see here on the end screen, because for whatever reason YouTube thinks you'll like them. And so I'll see y'all next time. Bye for now.